broadcast began like any other episode of courtroom commentary meets political discourse. But something felt different the moment Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett took her seat across from Judge Judy. Known for her no-nonsense attitude and razor-sharp tongue, Judy wasted no time setting the tone. With folded arms and a raised eyebrow, she dismissed Crockett's initial point about systemic inequality in the judicial system with a sarcastic chuckle. "Oh, please," she scoffed. "You politicians always make everything about race and oppression. How about personal responsibility for a change?" The audience laughed along, clearly expecting a takedown. But Jasmine wasn't laughing. She leaned in slightly, eyes calm but piercing. Respectfully, Judge Jasmine began. "If you're going to laugh at lived experiences, might as well laugh at the Constitution, Tubi, because both are supposed to matter in a court of law." The room quieted immediately.
Yeah.
Judy blinked, lips pursed, but Jasmine pressed on. "You're right, personal responsibility matters. But what about institutional responsibility? You can't keep telling people to pull themselves up by bootstraps when they were never given boots." A murmur ran through the audience. Jasmine didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. Her words carried a calm authority that shifted the energy in the room. Judge Judy, clearly taken aback by Jasmine's sharp counter, tried to regain control. "Young lady, I've been on the bench for decades. I've seen people of every race and class make bad decisions." Jasmine smiled slightly. "And with all due respect, ma'am, I've seen laws applied differently for the same crime depending on who's wearing the orange jumpsuit. Experience doesn't make you immune to bias, it just makes it harder to see your own." It wasn't a clapback. It was a truth bomb delivered with surgical precision. Audience members began to shift in their seats, realizing they were witnessing more than just a disagreement, it was a reckoning. Judy raised her voice. "That's a dangerous mindset. Blaming the system for every wrong choice creates victims, not citizens." Jasmine nodded slowly. "And ignoring the system creates injustice, not justice." Her voice remained steady. "I'm not here to defend bad behavior. I'm here to dismantle the double standards that shape whose behavior gets criminalized. In the first place," the camera panned to Judy, whose trademark smirk had faded. For once, she looked genuinely challenged, because Jasmine wasn't arguing to win. She was arguing to enlighten. Then came the moment that set the internet ablaze. Judy, still trying to gain the upper hand, said, "It sounds like you're excusing crime." Jasmine's eyes narrowed. "No, I'm explaining conditions. That's the difference between a judge who reacts and a lawmaker who responds. I don't excuse, I legislate. And my job is to fix the broken code that makes some people's survival illegal." Gasps filled the studio. Judy leaned back in her chair, visibly unsettled. For once, her usual quick wit met a force equally intelligent but rooted in lived reality, and it was clear who had the momentum now. Social media lit up within minutes. Clips of Jasmine's composure, clarity, and calm dismantling of Judy's dismissal flooded every major platform. Hashtags like "Jasmine wins" and "Judge Judy silenced" started trending. Analysts called it a generational clash, old guard justice versus new age advocacy. Jasmine wasn't trying to shame Judge Judy. She was challenging a mindset, and millions watching at home saw the shift. This wasn't just a viral moment. It was an ideological turning point. Back on set, Judy tried a different angle. "Let me tell you something about law, Congresswoman. The law is colorblind. It doesn't care who you are." Jasmine responded instantly, her tone slightly sharper. "That's the dream, Judge. But right now it's still a lie. If the law is truly blind, why does it see black bodies as threats before it sees white ones as mistakes?" The room went still again. Jasmine's words were direct, devastating, and undeniably true. Judy didn't answer immediately. For a second, it looked like even she realized the weight of what had just been said, in an attempt to steer things back in her favor. Judy remarked, "This is why people don't take politicians seriously. Too much talking, not enough fixing." Jasmine didn't miss a beat. "Actually, people don't take outdated ideas seriously. And I fix things by writing laws, not one-liners." The crowd erupted. This was a line for the books. But more than It showed that Jasmine was in full control, not just of the facts, but of the entire room. She didn't flinch. She didn't fumble. She flourished under pressure. Judy's expression hardened. She looked like she wanted to end the discussion early, but couldn't find a strong exit. "You've got spunk, I'll give you that," she said. Jasmine gave a half smile. "It's not spunk, Judge. It's preparation. The kind I had to develop in a system that wasn't built for me to succeed in. So when you laugh, know that I've heard worse and responded better." Again, the room was stunned. It wasn't about volume. It was about values. Jasmine's argument wasn't meant to humiliate. It was meant to elevate. After the segment, journalists swarmed Jasmine in the green room, asking how she kept her composure. "Easy," she said. "When you fight for people who don't get TV airtime, you learn to stay focused. They don't care if I win an argument. They care if I win a vote." Her answer revealed the deeper reason for her power. It wasn't ego. It was purpose. That's why the public responded not just to what she said, but to why she said it. Media outlets ran stories for days. Op-eds applauded Jasmine for elevating the conversation without degrading the opponent. Educators praised the segment as a masterclass in dignity under fire. Civil rights leaders called her exchange with Judy a long overdue challenge to outdated narratives masquerading as truth. And Jasmine, she returned to Capitol Hill with no press tour, no gloating. She had work to do in. She knew that moments like these only matter if they lead to momentum. Even some of Judy's longtime fans admitted she'd been outmatched. "I love Judge Judy, but she got caught flat-footed," one commenter posted. That Congresswoman was cool, clear, and corrected her without yelling once. Another wrote, "I didn't know who Jasmine Crockett was, but now I'll never forget her." The moment transcended the show, became a symbol of how a new generation is reshaping how we talk about power, justice, and who gets to define. Both in a follow-up interview, Jasmine was asked if she thought Judy was being intentionally dismissive. "I don't know her intent," Jasmine replied, "but I know the impact. Impact is what I fight every day to change." If she felt uncomfortable, that's good. Change starts with discomfort. It was classic Crockett, not vengeful, but visionary. She wasn't after applause, she was after accountability. Ain't with every sentence she made it clear she came to. Led her constituents began sending messages of support. "You didn't just speak for you, one read. You spoke for all of us who've been laughed at, dismissed, and told we don't belong." Jasmine posted a screenshot of that message with a caption that read, "I see you. I hear you. I represent you." It wasn't just a reply, it was a promise. A reminder that her words weren't for the cameras, but for the communities that built her soon. Schools were using the clip as part of civics lessons. "This is how you push back with poise," one teacher explained. College debate teams analyzed her tone, structure, and rhetorical technique. Professors called it one of the finest televised examples of how argument and advocacy can coexist without collapsing into insult. Jasmine had done more than hold her on. Shy had turned a combative, set up into a public tutorial on leadership. Judy, for her part, made no official statement. Her team quietly removed the clip from certain platforms, but the internet had already immortalized it. Jasmine's words had taken on a life of their own. And no amount of digital damage control could reverse what millions had witnessed. A generational baton had been passed not by force, but by fact. Weeks later, during a town hall meeting, a young girl raised her hand and said, "I saw you on that show. You made me feel like I could do that too." Jasmine teared up, then smiled. "That's the goal," she said softly. "It's not to be right, but to make room for more voices to rise." Her voice cracked, just slightly, but even in that there was strength. It reminded everyone watching that power isn't about domination, it's about elevation. As months passed, the encounter remained a cultural touchstone. Think pieces dissected it. Advocacy groups replayed it at conferences. It was no longer just about a heated debate. It was about the moment when someone refused to shrink beneath someone else's laughter and instead stood taller because of it. Jasmine Crockett had turned ridicule into revelation. She had turned a laugh into a legacy. Campaigns began citing her as a new voice for a new era of politics. Her speeches drew larger crowds, but she stayed focused. "This isn't about me. Going viral, she said in a later interview. It's about making sure the truth goes further than the lie ever could. That's why she kept rising, not because of a moment, but because of a mission. She wasn't chasing headlines. She was chasing justice. In the end, Judge Judy's laughter was forgotten. But Jasmine Crockett's response, her poise, her power, her precision, echoed across every platform it touched. She didn't just shut down a laugh. She opened up a new standard. For every person who's ever been dismissed, disrespected, or underestimated, she showed what happens when truth is louder than ridicule and when courage sits quietly, unwavering in the spotlight.